We are the people station.
Oh my goodness. What would I do without Genesis?
Genesis FM.
Hi, it's Sylvia Teller, and I tune into Genesis because they reach.
We are the people station. We are the people station. We are the people station. We are Genesis FM. Genesis FM. London.
Yeah, I'm back in the house, as they say. Good morning to all the listeners and that, yeah? I'm a bit on time today, and yeah, that's right. But what can we talk about today then? It's kind of cold out there and kind of mucky, so we need to warm it up a bit. Stuff has been happening, you know. The racist, the woman who got attacked by the racists, you know, we've got a few things going on out there. This part of the show is always a bit hard because I don't know what to start off with. You get what I'm saying? I always like people to phone me and give me a phone check on 07977884840 just to make sure that everything's in working order. Then we know we've got the phone line ready, and I haven't got to be looking at the phone and thinking, what's happening there? So if anyone can give me a ring on 07977884840, and if they've got any ideas of what topic we should talk about. Any topics are okay by me. All we need is a topic. I won't suggest one. I'll let somebody phone in and suggest one, because you know when the Doctah X starts talking, he just keeps going on. We've got Owie Hart in here laughing, but it's true. Give me something to work with then. You get what I'm saying? Give me something to work with, because it's like, you know what I'm saying? I can work with loads of stuff. I can just make stuff up as I go along. But I'd much prefer if the people did some talking. You get me? 'Cause it's all about the people's talk show. Aha. See, now this is what I like. See, now I can hear the phone, but I can't hear the phone. What? See? This is what I mean. Keep calling, because I can't. Where is it? Where's it meant to be? It's calling. Where's it? How come it's over here? Ah, gotcha. Hello, Genesis.
Sandra from Peckham.
Hello.
Good morning.
Is that Sandra? Hi, Sandra.
Yeah.
Nice one, as usual.
Yeah, fine. Really, I'm wondering if my friend's going to phone up. He was telling me a story yesterday about how two white girls approached him and told him that black girls are losing it because the white girls are taking over and taking their men away from them.
Right.
And then she was asking him if he's going to join the cause and go out with her.
Rah.
Yep. He told me that last night. He said he was going to try and phone you last night and tell you that.
Rah.
Yep, he was saying so, you know, what do black girls think of it? You know what I mean?
Oh, damn.
And you're saying about shearing men?
Uh-huh.
Well, quite frankly, I'm not shearing no man. To tell you the truth, I would rather go out with a foreigner than shear a black man.
Oh, shit.
And that's the truth.
Okay.
Or I would rather, but to be honest, I'm on my own. I'm not dating nobody, you know what I mean? I've had the opportunity, but right now in the time, I'd rather be on my own than shear any man.
Okay,
Yeah?
I understand
so
that. Yeah.
what do black girls think about that, you know?
Okay, I
They're
understand.
trying to look like white women, but the black men are saying, no, they would rather have the white.
Oh dear, tricky one, Sans, tricky one.
Okay then.
All right, thanks, yeah?
All right, peace.
Oh no, well, how do I deal with that, Sans? Just like, you know, do I tread on some toes and what? Oh, what do I do? Do I just tread, or do I tread lightly? What do I do? Oh dear. Yeah, that's a good. I got another call coming. I'll take that one. Hello, Genesis. Who's calling? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Joy from Birmingham, please.
Sorry, your name?
Joy from Birmingham,
Jerry? Joy. Hiya.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. Last week I was reading an article in the News of the World.
Uh-huh.
It was to do with this little black child that needed a bone marrow.
Uh-huh.
Right. The father refused to go to the hospital to have his blood tested because he didn't want the child support agent to find out that he's a father. So basically he refused to do it because he had to pay maintenance.
What's going on?
Could you talk about something like that, please?
What's going on? Yeah. Joy, that's a nice one. That's a deep one, though. That's a deep one. So what about the mother? What happened with the mother?
Well, the mother wanted him to go, but there's not a lot the mother can do if he refuses to go.
What? So was it? Do you need both parents to do it?
No, just the father.
Just the why the father and not the mother?
I don't know. It's just the father's blood that they needed to be tested. He was a black man as well. He worked for London Transport.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then. Thanks. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. I'd just like to big up Owie Hart, who's just left the studio. Nice one, Black. Yeah, it started a bit warm, innit? Would you go with that? Oh no. You see, you've woke me up trickily now. All right then, let's look at this first. First we do with the first call up, and then we come on to that second part. First of all, we have a situation, like I said before, yeah, where in Sandra, the call actually said that they'd much rather go out with a foreigner, right? Well, I don't know what type of foreigner that would be, but a foreigner's a foreigner, as far as I'm concerned, yeah? But the fact is, if that's your case, if that's the case and that's how you want to state it, and you can't find, because what I'm saying, I'm not saying that you should share, man. I'm saying, and you wonder why you do. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, any individual should share man, because, it would be an impossibility for every one woman to have one man. You get what I'm saying? It wouldn't work. You get what I'm saying? But that's another set of reality, isn't it? And what I'm saying is that as long as you have this situation that goes on when you have half of the eligible, for want of a better word, half of the eligible black men with white women, as long as you have that situation going on, yeah, you're going to have a problem finding men. You get what I'm saying? Or there will be a problem as far as men's concerned. Plus, men, men and their particular machoism and their testosterone levels would want to, reach out and try and play the field. Now, that's not every man, That's some men, and maybe we can say in a Western world, or maybe I can say where I come from that we've had a lot of conversations within that arena and about that kind of situation. So what I'm saying is that, So what I'm saying is that you can't necessarily, if you make a choice to choose someone as a partner, you know what I'm saying, and you say that you're going to want in black, light, green, whatever, that you make that choice. That's a choice as far as I'm concerned that you make. It's not about what is right and what is wrong. It's about, like what the caller said, like they'd rather be by themselves, and that's a choice you want to make. When there's a lot of other people who are unconsciously or inadvertently making those choices. You get what I'm saying? They don't really want to make them, but they are actually sharing a man. And it usually comes out in the wash, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? And that's because it's the way it is. Some people can handle it, and some people can't. You know what I'm saying? Some people were brought up a certain way, and some people were brought up another way. Some people will learn to adapt to certain scenarios. Some people can't. Some people are very hard-headed about what they want, and some people get it, and some people live their life trying to find it and not ever getting it. So, as far as I'm concerned, well, whoever you choose, if you then say, okay, then because there's not enough eligible black men in the community, I'm going to go and find, because there are more eligible people in another race or another community, I'm going to pick one from the other community. And if that's what happens, then that's just going to happen, isn't it? You get what I'm saying? And this is what's happening with the black man and the white girl syndrome, because we're finding that black men, well, this is what I've seen on telly anyway, saying that, white women are more easier to get on with. So, I mean, there's a problem there somewhere. This is what they're saying on telly. This is not what I'm saying. This is what these people that have been interviewed and have been led to, has given their opinion why they're with who they're with, yeah? So I can't really say about how we're going to change that particular scenario, because first of all, like I said, you lead a lot more women to make a lot more conscious efforts about the type of men that they're having children for. They have to make a lot more conscious effort about how they're going about choosing their men. You know what I'm saying? Or how they're checking out the type of man that's choosing them. You get what I'm saying? And maybe even vice versa. So therefore, those are the kind of things that will, in time, not tomorrow morning or next week, but in time, help, to clarify the mentality of our girl children. So the whole other race that's growing up now should actually, make that conscious effort. Hello, Genesis, caller, we call from?
Sandra again. I just wanted to point out that there could be a change, and it's down to the parents, because like I said, when I was young, my parents didn't teach me nothing about my history, nothing. So therefore, I was prone to be with the white people. So now when I've grown up and everything, and I can go and do my own research, and I'm finding out all this information about my people, it made me love myself even more. That's what I'm saying. I would rather be on my own. Even if it came to the country and there weren't no men, I would rather be with a foreigner. But right now I'm on my own, and I'm going to stay on my own until I can find somebody that I can deal with of myself. But what I'm saying is that I don't believe that the parents are giving their children enough education about oneself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they go to these other people.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Well, this is what I've just said. I've said that tomorrow, it won't change tomorrow and it won't change next week. But what you need to do is make a conscious effort to, ingrain in the children, or, the girls and the boys, a particular mindset in order to make that change in their generation. You ain't going to change tomorrow. You ain't going to change your mind or my mind tomorrow. That ain't going to happen. But what can happen is that you can make a generational change, like how I suppose a lot of the Europeans have started to do mixed lessons and this equal. That's what they do. They make the change from the children because the parents are already gone. You get what I'm saying? So we would have to.
If the parents have already gone, then their children obviously must be gone too, because obviously their children, unless their children grow up and then do what I've done, their children are still going to carry their values of their parents.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not if you have an educational system or in a system where they go to and they learn other values which they can then contemplate in their daily life.
But those people that are putting on them wigs, and they're not going to be sending their children to schools where they could be educated about themselves. So it's got to be like all these, like I've always said, all these organisations that are there, those are the people that are supposed to be setting up these schools for us, and they're not doing jack. Raboni, all of them people that say that they're doing stuff for black people, they're not doing nothing. Because if they were doing things for black people and I could see it, then I would say it. But at the end of the day, like I said, the Nation of Islam, like you were saying yesterday, why is it you have to be a Muslim to join their school? And they've got all the information. So those people are devils. If you have to be a Muslim in order to get that education, then as far as I'm concerned, they're the devils. And the same with Raboniites. You have to be a Raboniite to get the information. They're devils. You know?
But what I'm saying, in a sense, it's like, I don't know, it's a sense like I don't think it's really about devil, it's really about setting up an organisation to cater and suit a particular need, isn't it? And their need, I don't want to be a Muslim, so that won't happen. And I don't want to be, a Raboniite, so that won't happen. So then we as a people are so-called, whatever.
But then they can't care about their people, they only care about themselves.
Well,
if they cared about them people, then they will be, regardless of what they are, like I said, this so-called Jesus Christ didn't care what kind of person, as long as they got the information that he was giving, that was the most important thing. So why isn't it that the others are doing the same?
Well, in actual fact, in truth, he did say, I only came to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
But those who want to hear.
Right, but only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And out of that lot, only those who want to hear. Not the whole world. All that has been changed, by Paul, and later down that happened, where Paul came and said he walked with Jesus, which he lied. And, lots of stuff. So, really, it is about finding who wants to do with what you want to deal with, isn't it? It's not necessarily about finding all sorts of people to do all sorts of things. Because even what we were saying like yesterday, it has to be a situation whereby you pick out what you want to do, and you pick out the way you want to do it. You get what I'm saying? So if this is the organisation you want to join as a Christian or a Muslim or a Raboniite or a Muslimite, then that's what you do. And if it suits you, you stay with it. And if it doesn't, then you move away from it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's a case of saying that any of them are the devil or any of them. I just think to myself, then, you say, well, that doesn't suit me as an individual, and I'm worthy to be on the planet. So let me find some individuals that I suit, and then see if you can create an organisation which caters more for, that up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what I'm saying about, like, when we set up a movement from this radio station. I've just been given something about the Vince Hines Foundation. In fact, there are organizations. I'm getting told that there are organizations that do all that sort of stuff, voluntary training groups and stuff like that. But I know the point you're trying to make. You're trying to make the point on a more like national approach, more than just like places where you can just find little pots of people.
At the end of the day, I can't see us advancing anywhere unless it's on the whole.
Yeah,
and that's the end of the day, because like you were saying, every other race, regardless of what difference they have, as a people, they are together for their cause. And I don't see that in black people.
Yeah, it's like the Islamites, the Islam people should join on with the Rabboni and create a bigger force, and then the Rabboni should join on with some of the other Christians and create a bigger force, and then we'd have a whole force instead of having this kind of eclectic group of people who, you know, if you're a Muslim then you do this, and if you're a Rabboni you do this and you dress this way, and some other mix up. It's just giving people more and more confusion about what to do.
I'm saying this, in my lifetime, I'm not going to see it happen, and if I do, I'll eat my word. That's what I've got to say.
I'm going to give you some salt and pepper, Sandra.
Okay, then.
Yeah, nice one, yeah?
All right, please.
Okay, first of all, we've got the other bit. I'm going to answer the other question. Why? We've got commissioners came and went, and we've also got Jools in the studio. You get what I'm saying? So there'll be two of us on today. I thought there was going to be three, but no, he's gone. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? Yeah.
I'd like to say good morning. Oops, no, just to slightly adjust the mic. Yeah, it's a bit high. I'd like to say good morning and thank you to Doctah X. I was listening to you as I was coming in. I love the way you open up. Call in, because I want you to open up the show. Really good, effective, love it. And it does encourage you to call in, because if I had a mobile, I would have done so, but I don't. I've had flu for the last 2 weeks, and I've been, what I'd like to say, bed struck. When I mean that, I mean struck to be in my bed, which I don't usually stay in. But nonetheless, I've been trying to listen to the shows when I could get a good frequency. I'd like to say a good morning to all Genesis listeners out there, if you're listening on either 91.5 as I was, to get a clearer reception, or 91.6. Today is all about you and your communicating your viewpoints through to us, through Genesis, of course, the People's Station. As Miss Juman said yesterday, UK's #1. Love that. I didn't catch the last part because I was making a mad dash halfway up Everest, what I like to call this place here. So I didn't actually catch on to it, but I did catch a little bit of what you were saying about mixed relationships and about choice and about education. And on Friday night, I went to, I didn't even know what to call it though. I'll say it was more like a conference with an author of the Fire of the Water and Spirit, a man called Dr. Maladoma Pachisume, who is over here from America, who originates from Africa. He wrote this book, and he's also written various other books as well, about communal spirit, about community, etc. And he addresses a lot of those things in his works. And one of the things that he said on Friday that I'd like to share with everybody, because I think it's essential, because not everybody could be there. There was only a limited amount of tickets. And it was unfortunate because it was an incredibly powerful and empowering and educational evening. But one of the things he said is that we need to re-find a core in us that is absolutely missing, which comes back from our ancestral heritage, which we cannot regain unless we really seek to do it, and we call upon our ancestors and people around us to invoke that knowledge, because it has been denied of us. But there are places and institutions which exist in order to fill that void. And I think it is a void that needs filling. The reason why a lot of us reach out to other cultures and other people is because we have a lacking within ourselves. A lot of the time we don't want to admit it, and we always want to cast blame onto the female or the male of that race, when essentially it starts from within. So, I mean, that was just something that I wanted to add. But I am going to read out the number and take my coat off, and I want to have a big coughing section. So I'm going to ask Doctah X to continue on this. The studio number is 07977 884840. I'll repeat that again. That was a bit quick. Blessings to you all. 07977 884840. Doctah X, can you please relieve me a sec? Thanks.
Yeah, we had this caller earlier on. He's talking about the fathers, and this particular guy who wouldn't allow his son or a child in for bone marrow transplant because he didn't want the CSA to catch it. How pathetic! But that's a whole other story. But that was really pathetic. I think that the black man's fear of responsibility is reaching epidemic proportions. Now, it's incumbent upon the women, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, to do something about that kind of flex. It's no good they keep saying about the men, them, this and them, because as far as I'm concerned, right, we've reached a point in time now where a level of equality has kind of kicked up. Now, there's no way that women are as strong as men physically. There's just no way. Don't matter what they want to say. You might get a few bodybuilders who take some, who take some testosterone-like hormones and can compete with men on that level. But on a natural level, on a one-to-one, it just ain't going to happen. But and that's for some other kind of creative reason, which is beyond my knowledge base, and I wouldn't enter that zone. But in terms of mind and mentality, we are totally equal. There is no difference between a woman's mind to a man's mind. There is no difference between a woman's willpower and a man's. Maybe there is subtle differences in terms of her ability to suckle a child and have a child and all that. Maybe we'll find out that, in time, that mentally and psychologically and all that stuff, she's stronger than a man. So whereas a man is physically stronger than a woman might be spiritually, psychically, all that stronger than a woman. I suppose it will that will always be up for debate, because people always say, well, I think this and I think that. But because there is no generalization, there's no but it's clear. One thing is clear: men in most races are stronger than women. In most races, we might find 10% across the globe where that generality doesn't exist, and that's about it. But mentally, I figure that women can, focus their mind on any piano, buses, scientists, astronauts, anything that a man can do, a woman can do. So therefore, it's not for a woman it's for a woman to develop, as well as, a man to know himself in that sense, develop a far more, I don't know if I would want to use the word clinical, but a clearer viewpoint of how to deal with men, and find out methodologies which strengthen their resolve according to what they want. You get what I'm saying? And for mothers and fathers to teach, for fathers who are very sort of like play the fieldy issue, you get what I'm saying? Who don't really want their child as a girl child or whatever to be played, right? To tell her what it is that men and men get up to, which I think some fathers are doing in certain aspect, and such alike, and vice versa, women to tell women children what they actually get up to. The problem with this society, this European capitalistic society, is that a lot of things in terms of truth are hidden from the children, and a lot of people rate things like truth as don't tell them this and don't tell them that. Hide sexual stuff away from them, hide swearing away from them, hide all the things that they're already he's a commissioner, right? So what I'm saying is that, they hide a lot of stuff from them. So if in a society such as that, you're going to get this kind of mad, psychotic world, kind of a bit psychopathic in a sense. Not in the real, Alfred Hitchcock's psychopathic sense, but in the sense of losing their senses and are not sure of their actions. And because they don't have no guide, they have no guiding light, they have no guiding point. You understand what I'm saying? And if the truth is hidden, in whatever form, you know what I'm saying? I'm always dealing with whatever form truth comes in. Not the fact that because the European system, the European education system says you don't talk about this, and you don't do that, and you don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking about the pornography show that they've been having on Channel 4, where it shows that they have a secret history of pornography dating back from like the 16th, 15th century, where they used to have in their houses statues of men having sex with goats and homosexual acts, and they had the actual statues of these things. So, and the sexual positions that they had books of, so the middle class mostly had it, the ruling classes mostly had it. They had prayer books to God with sexual acts, both heterosexual and homosexual acts involved. And anybody who saw the program know what I'm talking about. So there's a hidden part of their own history that they're hiding, why you cannot actually realize who these people are and what you're doing to your children by impressing upon them a lot of the mentalities that they're trying to tell you that is decent. You get what I'm saying? So, a father such as this particular guy who has reneged on his responsibility for fear of the government is a sad representation of a human being, of a father. Very sad. You know what I'm saying? And from all aspects, you get what I'm saying? That's like saying, you'd rather your child to die than to make the government know. It's beyond words. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. That's a madness as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? And within that concept and within that confine, I can't believe that, you know, there is no, you know, like, again, there's no one to turn to. So the mother can't turn to no other organization, you know what I'm saying, like black, you know, so there's no, the Muslims are there, can't turn to them to put pressure on them. The Rabonis type people are there, can't turn to them to put pressure on them. There's no organization that is dealing with truth and dealing with reality that has set up itself from the basis of truth. This sounds somewhat preachy. I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not trying to preach, but I'm just saying, I mean, if there's a reality out there that you know, if you tell me, you know what I'm saying, or there's an because I don't know of these. I know most of these organizations are administering European and capitalistic culture on African children, African Caribbean children. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to have this madness going on, because we need our own policing. Yeah, in words, in those words, because I'm going to use no other words but policing. We need our own management. You get what I'm saying? We need our own National Association for Black Parents. You get what I'm saying? National Association, or, you know, London Association for Black Parents, where we have professionals who believe in reality and truth and not believe in the system, the way the system is forcing their children to turn out the way they're turning out. People who are willing to cross-collateralize, cross-culturalize, which meaning that middle-class people are able to accept and respond to behaviorisms that is not of their so-called middle-class norm. You get what I'm saying? Because obviously they're supposed to be intelligent people, not talking down to people. So when you reflect the society that has captivated you or and culturalized you, when you reflect that society, you're going to reflect the same madness that they have. You get what I'm saying? You're going to reflect the same values that they have. You get what I'm saying? So, and then their values, when you look at it, it's mad. You know what I'm saying? When you really look at it close, it's some craziness. Like I said about the pornography is just one of them, just a slight bit. You get what I'm saying? They do crazy, nutty, crazy things, and that's in this, and then they call out democracy. The Chinese want to have a protest. The people from Tibet want to protest about their Chinese dictator coming over here. And the police of this system suppress them because they need to make a deal with Jiang Shu-min or whatever his name is. Yeah. So they suppress them until the dotted line is signed. Jiang Shu-min is clear about what he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? The capitalistic democratic government of this country, they smart about how they do it. They do it a totally different way because they got a totally different set of people to work with. So you know what I'm saying? So it's clear that they needed him to sign this £2 billion deal, you know what I'm saying? And people who with banners might got in the way. If them same people who was making all this kerfuffle, they would have affected the economy of England by if the Chinese president decided, well, hold up a minute, you're showing me disrespect. You mean you want me to sign a £2 billion deal, yeah? And at the same time, you're allowing your people them to disrespect me. I ain't signing nothing. You understand? I ain't signing nothing. That would have been a big problem for the same people who are in this country, you know what I'm saying, who are showing them banners on base of the right to protest. It would have been a problem for them and England exporting to China. A big part of their economy. So, don't be silly about this thing. Let's look at the reality of this thing. But remember, it's only the people who have clear vision. It's only the people who look from a point of clarity could see the reality, remember, the reality of the situation. Not the fantasy, it's the police must do what they want to do and that's rubbish. It's clear what was happening. You get what I'm saying? So it's clear that this art of democracy, and it is clear that this art of capitalism is a secret art. It's not an upfront art. So that's why the psychology affects you secretly. That's why, racism is subtle and institutional. Isn't it? It must be. Because it's a secret art. It's not an upfront art like Jiang Zemin. If it was upfront, at least black people like in America, you could get up and say, yeah, bastards, we're going to get them there. You know what I mean? But with the way that they're doing it, with the subtlety of the way in which they're approaching their art form as oppressors and dictators and manipulators of other cultures, the subtlety in which they express this particular motion, I wouldn't even call it emotion, yeah, keeps black people and other types of, what do you want to call it, races, underfoot. And then the black people who are in their system administer the same system to the same black people who they came from. So can't you see You know, for black people, whether you're Muslim, you know, Yahwehian, you know, Jew, it doesn't matter. For black people, whatever you believe in, the war needs to be fought around truth. It needs to be fought around expressing truth. You know what I'm saying? And expressing the reality of the lifestyle we live, and not the fantasy and the law, because that is the subtlety of the capitalistic brainwash and the capitalistic art form of oppression. You know what I'm saying? So if, you know, the more people who are in power, who sees the reality, they won't stay in power. If Diane Abbott told you the truth of what happened or what's going on she wouldn't stay in power. If Bernie Grant told the truth about what's really going on as a black man, he wouldn't stay in power. Because power needs power to keep going. He ain't going to allow somebody to dethrone it, is it? Just like the police wouldn't allow these people to protest. You get what I'm saying? Because it would mean that the economy would be affected by a few, well, how many hundred? It's not enough.
Can I just come in with you? I was just about to say, I'm not going to interrupt him too much, because, I mean, I'm sitting there shaking my head. I'm nodding my head, sorry, completely agreeing with what you had to say. I just wanted to say something that that the economy that we live in, the society that we live in, is not based on abundance but scarcity. So therefore, it is all about manipulation of a very small and minute amount of resources. So it comes away from African base, which is based on abundance. So therefore, that is what it's about. And to me, democracy is not even an institution. It's a facade. It's an illusion. Because just like you were saying, I just have to agree with you 100%. Because basically, you've got to remember this. They might be sitting there and they might have their organizations that are there to cater for, all the misuses and the abuses, right, of human rights and violations. Yet on the other hand, when it comes to money, it bears no relevance. We only have to look at Africa to see that. We only have to look at the fact that the same people that have caused the problems and the divisions in Africa are the same people that are trying to propose its solutions. So therefore, it's not something that's new. You know, but I do feel that, like, exactly what you were saying is that people need to recognize that, you know, there's an alternative and a secret agenda behind every single thing. And yes, a lot of the people that are out there supposed to be representing us, right, have their own agenda anyway. So, I mean, that's just all I wanted to say, really. I just wanted to basically agree with what you're saying and ask people to call in and give us their opinions on what they think as well. The father. Now I'm gonna touch on that because like I said, I'm a single parent as well. I've got a very supportive partner, a good boyfriend. He's man, not boyfriend, man. He stands by my side, my king, called George. He's very supportive, but her dad hasn't been. So I can reflect from both sides of that. But the number to call in is 07 977 88 48 40. I'm going to repeat that again so you can run and grab a pen or whatever if you want to contribute and call in. Right, about the father. Now, I personally think it's disgraceful. One, because it shows his lack of respect for himself, right? Because that child is his offspring, yeah? That is his descendant. That is his future. That child represents his future. And if a child now only represents money, an economical strain, and just basically what does that represent? The child represents a bag of sugar, or a litre of petrol, or a pound of carrots. A child does not represent that, and there are a lot of men who are out there who have lost the complete value of themselves, and then this is then communicated through their actions and then through their offspring. What we need to do is reverse the psychology. What we need to do is reclaim our value. We do need to mourn our ancestors and reclaim their value. They didn't die for nothing. We're not here for nothing. We need to reclaim this one thing called purpose. And this is what this man lost. He had no purpose. And there are so many, I'm not going to say just black men, because there's women out there too. Yeah, I'm not going to tar one thing, because there are women that go and leave their children in care. There are women that use abortions like the morning after pill. Yeah, I'm talking about there are women that don't know what contraception is. So, I mean, it goes both ways. It's like you said, it's that balance of responsibility, And yes, every make there's mistakes. Who has to carry your problems? And this is the thing. We're passing on a load of problems. We're not passing or alleviating them, we're creating more. And then what happens in that child psychology? Say that child doesn't meet anybody, or that woman doesn't meet anybody who cares for her. or, you know, the child feels neglected or rejected by the fact that their father wasn't about. I mean, at the end of the day, it was life-saving surgery from what I can understand. So either way you look at it, it's death, not life. He's supporting. You know, and a lot of men go out there and they shed their sperm, and a lot of women go out there and allow their eggs to be fertilized. You know, the average woman only has 3 days in a month when she can really conceive anyway. But I mean, the point of the matter is that we have to think more carefully about what we're doing and also about the future of our children, because if we stop doing this, just as this man has done, I mean, the media's going to pick up on it. And this is the thing. The media will pick up on anything that is detrimental for us, and they will amplify it, right? And this is something that, you know, I can't stress enough of. There are so many positive things happening every day, which we'll never hear about. And I mean, this is one of the good things about Genesis, is that, you know, we will be able to share the good as well as the negative aspects, the positive as well as the negative aspects of our daily existence, you know, in this realm, as I call it, because it is a realm. Do you know what I mean? When you sleep, you're in a different realm. So, you know, while you're awake, while you're conscious, you know, we have to deal with, you know, what's happening here and now. And my message to that father would be, you need some serious help and counseling. And not only that, you need healing, yeah? You need spiritual healing. I know a lot of people say, oh, blah, 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 everyone's talking about the spiritual. That's because people underestimate the power of the spiritual magic, you know? And we carry on like it's a non-existent entity when it is an entity that exists. And it's something that has been reclaimed by our ancestors many centuries ago that still exists there now today. So therefore, it's something that we still need to reclaim and look at the value of, and particularly our family values, because we have assimilated and incorporated many European value systems, and even included in the way that we make love, into our lives, because we don't know of any alternative. What we do need to do is find that alternative, you know, and for that father there, he needs to be taught a serious lesson. Whether it be that he's publicly, I don't know, we need to publicly embarrass him, calling, I don't know his name, I don't know who he is, you know, put him on the front page of the nation and shame him as he is a disgrace. But no, what do we do? Yeah, a lot of people like to glorify this whole baby father syndrome. Yeah, it's not something to be glorified. It's something that we must take serious, we got to take serious stock and look at, you know, the way in which we address our youth and our children, because they are precious. They are so precious. They represent the next 60 years, the next 70 years, you know. They represent the time when we're not going to be here. If we do not give them the right kind of education, our kind of education, and if we do educate them about the greatness of their ancestors, the greatness of the achievers that are there and existing now, the contributions that people like everybody make, even on a voluntary basis on a Sunday at Genesis, even stations like this, even DUO, everybody. You know, everybody that's a part of it, we need to let them know that these contributions and organizations and institutions and companies and you know, all different kinds of corporations that exist, black corporations exist, to empower ourselves. They are there. We just need to link and create a unifying force. You know, I mean, I keep saying it, and I know we keep saying it again and again, but it's because it needs to be said. And the more we say it, I think the more it will happen. Because I heard on Friday, and I really truly believe in this, Maladoma said, you're going to die anyway. But what's the point of dying and going backwards? You don't die and go backwards. If you're going to die and make sure when you're making your plans while you're here, you're dying, but you know that you're moving your race forwards. You know? Because you're going to die anyway. So what's the point of going backwards? For all them backwards men that want to sit there and dog black women and turn around and say, oh, they can't get on with them and blah, 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 and all this. You know, they want to address their own socialization and conversational skills. They want to address their own way in which they talk to their princesses and to their queens. Because if they're not getting the right response, perhaps they're not saying the right things. You know, that is something that also needs to be addressed. I'm going to repeat the studio number because obviously we want to hear from you. We want to hear your opinions. And it's important for us to hear, you know, what you're thinking about it. It's the people's station after all. I'm going to say the number one more time. It's 07 977 88 48 40. That's 07 977 88 48 840. Reach out and touch through to us because we are waiting for your call. But nonetheless, I would like to have a conversation with Doctah X here because he's always so full of information. That's why I just enjoy doing the show with him because he's always got a contribution to make. And not only a contribution to make, but he makes it so powerfully. And I don't hear the impact of his words actually do have an impact. And it's about time someone had an impact and had a position which they stood from, they're not backing down from because they know that it's the right place to be. And a lot of us aren't sure that we're in the right place to be in our minds with the knowledge that we take in, because that's why we're differing. Yeah? A lot of us spend our time differing. We're not sure. Sometimes you're put in a situation where, boy, you know, you're in a room with loads of your peers and you're trying to represent, you know, the black perspective. And then a lot of people veer away from it because they're ashamed, you know, in the deepness of somewhere in their subconscious. They've got some sort of guilt factor of the fact that they are black. Whereas, you know, you'll find that in order to succeed, you have to make sure that you wear your blackness on your chest like a badge that you're so proud of in your African heritage. So proud so that no one can deny you because they're aware of your rich heritage. They stole it. And they're also aware of it. So the fact that you're denying it shows that you're, I don't know, someone who doesn't quite know themselves. You know, I don't want to go into name-calling situations, but someone who doesn't quite know themselves. So I think that knowledge of self is so empowering. It's so empowering, and we do need to read books and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that's the only source of information. You know, I'm not saying that organisations like BIS are the only source of information. I'm not saying that, you know, all little things that we're doing isn't other sources, but each little strand is going to reach somebody. That's the main thing. You know, that is the main thing. And so far as the fatherhood thing, you know, and that man, we need to do something in order to teach him a lesson, the community, because if not, it's going to be seen as a positive example for the youth. And that is a problem. A lot of them are getting things that are portrayed and put out by the media, which aren't necessarily positive, but just like when you was young, a lot of negative things seem good. That's the attraction, you know. What do you say, Doctah X?
Yeah. Jools has got a bad cold up in this place, man. If you give us a call, tell us what you think about what we just said, 07977 884840, because we can talk for ages. You get what I'm saying? It's really important that we get something to feed off of, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all about, you know what I'm saying? If you ever heard the Rego Chat Show, I could chat for hours. But I need some people to, yeah, that's good. Hello, caller, where you calling from? What's your name, sir?
Hi, it's Mr. P from Bermondsey.
Bermondsey. Miss P?
Yeah.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said, what the man did, because I think I turned on the radio late, and you were already on. But I know you're talking about something in regards to black male or black woman going over to the other race because they think it's much easier.
No, I'll give you a quick rundown first.
Yes.
Right, what happened? We got a call who said that they might. Because I said on my other show that some women will have to share men because blah blah blah, and she said, well, she'd never do that. She'd rather be by herself.
I'd rather be by myself.
Right, yeah. And then there's another caller saying that a lady phoned up saying that a father refused to go to the hospital to get his bone marrow for his child sorted out because he was afraid the CSA, the government, was going to catch up with him. So it's a mixture of those two issues we're talking about at the moment.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's
anyway, this week I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine, black man, and he's in a relationship with a white man, at least the entire family. Okay. And me and this brother talking one-to-one, and he said to me, I asked him about his brother, and he said, he's getting from bad to worse, the drinking, and that he's beating his woman. And he looked in my face and he said, and it's so bad, you know, because she can't take hard beating because she's white. I couldn't believe my ears that the man stood in front of me, a black woman, and said that. And I said, what are you saying?
Did you say to me who you chatting to?
Said it to my face.
What?
To my face. And I said, what are you saying? Because she's white, she can't stand beaten. So black woman can stand beaten then.
You should have said to me who you chatting to.
It's the mindset. It's the mindset. He's not even aware of what he's saying.
Damn.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. And the thing is, I'm not in a relationship.
Uh-huh.
And I don't date white men, period.
Uh-huh.
I talk to white people, but I really don't have anything in common to say I'm going to go out. And it's not because I hate them.
That's fair enough.
If I meet somebody and I have something in common, then we go. But I don't have anything in common.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to go in a relationship with a black man because he's black.
No,
because we have to be compatible.
Of course,
and
simple.
I've been in bad relationships, but that doesn't mean all black men are bad. I'm just waiting and hoping that the right person might come one day. If not, I'll stay single, because nothing wrong being single.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah. In regards, I hear a lot of men say, black brother said to me, oh, you're too hard, and you're too this and you're too that. It's easier going out with a white woman. I just feel that person is weak, because if he hasn't got it in me to put me in my place, you understand, and tell me what he's dealing with, then I'd rather not be with him. And I think the problem that we're in at the moment as a race, I heard you were talking about that the male of our species is stronger. That is true. And once any nation, or even in the animal kingdom, once the male of the species is conquered, then that nation is conquered. Once the male of the species, no matter how strong we black women going to be and what we say mentally, we need our men by our side. And that is why we have so much problems in our family. I think it is best if a lady is in a bad relationship and she has a child, to get out of the relationship and try to raise the child on her own to the best of her ability. But at the end of the day, it takes two to get them, and it takes two to rear them.
Most definitely.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thanks a lot, P. That's really good. I'll just take it on a bit further from there. That's what Sister P said, or Miss P said about compatibility. It is a very, what has happened is that in the raising of our children from coming off the ship and all that stuff, what they never taught us about, because they was too intent on us bowing to be slaves and getting our right A levels or GCSEs or whatever, yeah, that they forgot to tell them how to treat someone and how to respect another individual. Not know how the women do not know how to manage the strength of the man. They turn to these organizations and say men are this and men are that. But there are a lot of men who have upwardly mobile lifestyles who have actually chosen the wrong type of partner. You get what I'm saying? And there's a lot of women who have upwardly mobile lifestyles who have chosen the wrong type of partner. So what you have there is a conflict of interest. And then because of the sex that is involved and because of the children that are involved, you have this mixture of emotion, practicality, capability, you got this mix, and it's hard to really, to fathom out, because the psychologists that are being educated within this system, they don't work with a particular black remit, they work with a Freudian remit or a young remit, which is all European. They only studied, when they had this remit of psychology, they only studied European people. Black people African people wasn't involved. And we have a different rhythm, just like the Chinese have a different rhythm from English people. Indian people have a different rhythm from Chinese people. So if you want to choose a foreign partner, you've got to that you are compromising your own rhythm. If you don't care and you don't mind, hey, that's yours. Sister P just Mrs. P just said, you know what I'm saying? She's not going to go out with a black man just because he's black. Because like I said yesterday on my other show, it's more than blackness. It's about hereditary. It's about inheritance. It's about personality. All these things which we're missing when we go to a dance, which is cultural, and we see the girl and she's got a nice weave on in. This is from a man perspective I'm talking. She got a nice weave on in, a nice tight dress she bought either in the market or some place down West End. You know what I'm saying? And she's dancing, you think, oh, she looks sexy. The curves are all there. The natural instinct and the testosterone rises up in your thing. You have a nice one-to-one slow dance with her. You know what I'm saying? All the other hormone stuff goes in. You get her number, and then you start taking her out. And, for weeks and weeks and weeks, all you know is taking her out, and maybe then some point in time, you have some sex. And then somewhere along the line, later down, some baby comes along. Whereas no one knows anybody. No one knows anybody's family. No one knows anything to do with the connection of who we know. Because they're so now being indoctrinated by the white way of life through EastEnders and all these things that affect you psychologically that they don't even realize what they're doing. The mothers and fathers don't even realize what the sons and daughters are doing. You know, the mothers do not want to hear the truth from, if the child, I was having a conversation with my father the other day, and with all due respect, he's my father and I love him. I had to say to him, I think you're a bit of a slave. You get what I'm saying? And he went mad. He said, how dare you talk to me like that, and rare. But I said to him, listen, the only thing you can do, I share this with you, the only thing that you can do is to tell me to leave your house. But you can't stop me from, you know, saying what I think that you're, the mindset that I think you're in. Now, this is what other people would call disrespectful. How disrespectful is that? But how is, you know what I'm saying? I'm old enough to make decisions of my own, to make observations of my own, to make calculations of my own. So just because you are my blood parent, it doesn't mean that I cannot make an observation about you. It doesn't mean I can't tell you what I think about you. I know some mothers and fathers, because we're still talking, mind you, because the conversation went a bit further, but some mothers and fathers would not be able to take that kind of criticism or that kind of statement. Would be like an ultimate insult. But then, you know, if you're not able to talk to your parents, or your children are not able to talk to them, because my dad has talked to me for a number of years, so maybe I've also managed to be able to talk to him like that. If you hold your parents in some high regard, even though they might be somewhat just about literate, or they might, you know, have worked hard for you, and you hold them in high regard, and yet you still see them doing a lot of off-key things, you know what I'm saying? That's your business. But it doesn't help the progress. It doesn't help the problem. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't help the problem if you see them doing, children or parents doing something that's off-key and just leaving it because you don't want to show no disrespect or whatever. That's not truthful. Because, you know, if anybody wants to call in, 07977 884840, and tell me what they think, what truth is all about. Tell me what they think is respect and is not respect. And, you know, and let's see if we can debate about that. See if I took the wrong line.
No, I think, I agree with you. I feel that we all try to appease our parents to a certain degree. Yeah, I know sometimes I pull the thing over, that's why. But I think we all try to appease our parents. And I think that's a very valid topic that you actually hit on. In fact, I think that is one of the most valuable topics we've hit on today, because the relationship between mother and child and father and child invariably shapes you. It might only be for a certain amount of time, yeah? But some people are more, I would say, influenced by their parents than others. It's like your parent, your for instance, my mum, yeah? Staunch Christian. Can't budge her. Can't budge her. If I say anything, yeah, I'm being, what's that word she likes to use? Blasphemous, that's the one. You hit the nail on the head. That's the one. I don't know why it didn't come to my mind, because I hear it so often. But I'm being blasphemous when I question certain things. And I'm not questioning her belief. I just question certain items of things upon which she relies so much faith on. And like, for instance, I came back from Turkey this year, and on the way back we was in the car, and we were talking, and she said something, and I said, "Oh gosh, you know, what's going to happen? Hang on, watch the lightning strike out the sky and strike me dead now." And it was a joke, you know, but she took real offence to it, and she got really, really, really upset by it. Now, in terms of that shows that the communication between the mother and the daughter are on completely different, they're oscillating on different levels, they're completely on different frequencies. I know, for instance, that my mum has never listened to one of my radio shows. Yeah, as hard as it and heartbreaking it is to know that you don't have that level of support, you also have to acknowledge that her way is different. But you also know, and I know, because I'm raising my own child, that is not the way I want her to go. I'd rather have her in the Genesis studio sitting down, listening to what's going on in the talk show, than being indoctrinated in some kind of Christian church. And in fact, I've got to keep relating to Friday, because Friday was such, I don't know, I think it was something that should have been broadcast or something for us to see, because I think it's something for the hearts of all black people. I don't care if you're with a Chinese, black, Greek, or what. It was for the heart of all black people. And one of the things that was said on Friday was about the essential knowing of the know. And he said that if you meet anyone who's telling you about the happy ever after, stay a million miles away from them. And it is so true, because it's not real. The happily ever after the heaven, the this, the that. It's not real. And I don't care where you come from, what it is. If you can show me that it's real, I will give you £10. Not a lot of money, but basically what he was saying is that a lot of our belief structures, a lot of the reason why we block out the communication with our children is because we're I don't like to use this word, but hell-bent on believing in things that we can't actually sit down there and say, right, this applies to us, and yes, this is true and good for us. And parents, a lot of parents don't know how to communicate with their children. And when you say to your mum, look, you see that book that you're reading, it weren't written by you for you. I'm not telling her anything about her religion. I'm just talking about a book. But this book takes on so much importance that people are getting up at 5:30 in the morning to listen to some Christian radio show to hear the morning broadcast. Now, if that's not indoctrination, I don't know what is. You're not spending time with your children, yeah, but you're going to Bible class. You're not spending time with your children or your grandchildren on a Sunday teaching them something, or taking them to the observatory in Greenwich, or I don't know, just, teaching them about nature and about the trees and about, the different vibration and about the different elements. No, we're not doing that. And fathers, much the same, are taking their sons to football. And this is becoming the new religion. And I mean that. Even in school there's after football club. Yes, we want our children to keep fit and active, particularly if you live in a very sort of enclosed area, you want to do that. But I'm going to read the studio number out again, because this isn't about us yapping about, it's about you calling. And you're listening to Genesis. Yes, it's a black power station, it's a people's station, and this is Jools, I'm here, this is me, and Doctah X, the fantastic Doctah X is over there. Taking a 2-minute break while I announce the studio number again. It's 07977884840. Now, it's important for us to hear. I know a lot of people listen, but do they call? Right, I'm going to actually take this call right now. You'll have to excuse my cold, listeners. I do apologise for that. Is it this one? Okay, hello caller, you're through to Genesis. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, Jules. My name is Anita.
Sorry?
My name is Anita, and I'm calling from West Norwood.
Okay, I can't hear you extremely clearly. Is it Anita?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you just sound slightly muffled. I don't know why that is, but I'm going to strain my ears to hear you. And what contribution would you like to make this morning? This afternoon, sorry.
Okay. I would just like to agree with you wholeheartedly regarding the fact that children are totally indoctrinated by their parents.
Yes.
That's what I have experienced, and over a period of years, going back to the 70s, that is what I've seen as well.
Yes.
And the fact that some, especially the Caribbean and African, they do not like their children standing up to them and pointing out the fact that the Bible, they take the Bible totally and wholly and do not question anything that's written in there.
That's right.
And a lot of children become homeless, get thrown out of their home simply because they stand up to their parents and will not allow themselves to be indoctrinated.
That's right.
In my generation in the 70s, I did that myself. But I made the choice, rather than allowing myself to be indoctrinated as that generation of my parents was, I just totally stopped going to church. And I sit down and read my black history. You have to get to know who you are as a black. Because when you read the Bible, do you see very much in the Bible that was written for black?
Yes. Well, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's what I noticed from the 70s, and I was only 17, 18 when I woke up to that fact. And I realized that throughout and from slavery time, that is how black people was indoctrinated. And so they totally lost who they are as a black nation and who they will be in the future.
Yes. Yes.
And how our children in 1999 are now indoctrinated a great deal.
They are.
And that is why parents must wake up to the fact that we have to enlighten and wake our children up.
Yes.
And do not allow, future generation to be indoctrinated like we were.
Okay, that's a great point you're making, Anita. Yeah, what I'm saying is that you see that kind of that conversation that we need to have with our children. Yeah,
yes.
Because of this level of Bible-istic respect. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in to do with like sex and lies. You know what I mean? People teaching their children not to lie when the children are growing up hearing their parents lie all the time.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? People they're teaching the children to stand up for themselves, and they hear a white man knock at the door, and they're vexed when the white man knocks, and as soon as the white man knocks, oh, good afternoon, hello, you know what I'm saying, and switching up the place. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is what a contradiction in my mind, and probably in yours, in a lot of things that you saw growing up. Yes. Yeah. So why we should never repeat none of those kind of.
I just want to jump in. You know what? Embarrassing our children on Wednesday night, right? There's a football team right next to where we live. And I saw, right, this black man, right, tell off his son so badly, right? Tell off his son so badly, I had to go to my front door and ask him, please keep it down. Yeah? And I felt so bad. And I said, you know what I said to him? If you know and you have respect for your child, do that in private. You don't see white children and white parents bawling out and shouting down. They do it in their house. Yeah, they do it in their house. They don't do it on the street. So we don't need to do that. And the thing is, the extent to the name calling, how could that child pick himself up and come out with any kind of self-respect, self-love?
I must agree, Sandra, but I must agree. I've been also feel guilty for telling my children off in public, and that is sometimes out of annoyance. And then when I'm aware that, hold on, I'm telling my child off in the public, this is something that should have been done in private, I apologize to my children.
Yeah, but you're big enough to do that.
Because it is important to let children know that as adults, we can also make mistakes and we are also wrong.
Exactly. No, I agree.
That is what I install in my children. If I am wrong, tell me. And if I am asking you to do something which you do not agree with, just say to me, Mom, no, I will respect you. And that's how I want you to be a strong individual.
Lovely, lovely. I applaud you, yeah? Because that's what's called communication and love and sharing and that, yeah? So that if they're wrong, you debate the fact because you know more than they do some of the times. And sometimes they might have an issue that is not, they haven't fully, thought about. So maybe you can give them, some ideas on that. I applaud you with that, yeah? Because to me, that is what I'm talking about in terms of respect. Now, you see what you've done in order to get to that point? You saying that you had to throw away a particular part of indoctrination, in order to...
our life has been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
And we have to wake up.
Most definitely. And that's what you've done. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I keep saying about this indoctrination, this God thing, that I'm not saying that anything's wrong with it, but look at what it's doing to us as
totally destroyed the black nation. And it will continue to destroy unless we as a black nation wake up and sit down and study and see that the Bible is only there to indoctrinate our race.
That's right.
And our race has been totally destroyed. And so many black people are sitting there, living it, looking at it, and cannot recognize that we are being destroyed.
Yeah, no doubt. And their behavior to their children, and like you said about in the 70s when they threw children out the house, their behavior, as Jools was saying earlier on, instead of saying, I'm not going to Sunday church this week, they've taught you to love God more than you love your own siblings.
Exactly.
So how can that be a great achievement? To love God more than you love your children, more than you love your own people then. So what I want to know is that when are they going to stop going to church on one Sunday and look after their grandchildren? Sometimes they don't even like their grandchildren. And in order to hide from the fact that they don't even like their grandchildren or even their children, they go to church because then they won't have to be doing these other things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of deep though, but I'm really glad that you happen to be one of the ones like myself actually who managed and Jools who managed to pull themselves away from that particular mentality. And I have a continuous battle with my father because I will not allow his particular belief pattern and what should be right and what is respect and what is manners to hold me down. If I see him do something that wrong, if he drinks too much on a particular night, I'll say to him, "What, you're drunk? Don't talk to me if you're drunk because I'm leaving." I'll talk to him like that, and it's not disrespectful. It's the fact that He reached a certain level within his involvement, and I've reached a certain level within mine. He can learn from me if he wants to, or he can chastise me. It's up to him. But either I'm not going to be his son, or I'm going to be his son and be myself. I'm not going to be what he thought I should be based upon some English indoctrination, based upon some Bible-istic indoctrination. And I respect the way you deal with your children, because that's, to me, that's what I would do. That's bang on. Yeah?
And another point I like to make is the fact that I find with a lot of black people in the whole, I find, once your child reaches the age of 16, 17, you must also respect the fact they are now young adults.
Yes.
And treat them with that respect as
right.
a young adult.
That's right.
You will still need to counsel them and keep them in a straight and order, and to be there to give advice. And if you as an adult is not sure of the advice that you need to give, then ask.
Yeah, you sound,
that is what our grandparents and our large family unit in Africa and the Caribbean was about. Yeah. But we have lost that aspect as a large family unit in which to get outside advice away from something if you're not sure about it.
Okay, you sound too balanced for me. You know what I'm saying?
Balanced?
You sound... You
struggle to learn this.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It's examining my black people on the whole and watching the white people and foreigners. I grew up against, among a multicultural society, and what I've watched ever since I was a child is the way other foreigners would balance out their families through what information they pass on to their children. But black people in a whole will just accept anything that was given to them by the white and don't question anything.
That's right.
But you have to question it because they've taken our history away from us. So where the hell are we going? We have to find our roots.
Yeah, you're definitely right. That's what I'm saying about you sounding too balanced, because obviously you've done all the work that we've done. You get what I'm saying?
It's self-taught.
Yeah.
A lot of it is self-taught.
Yeah, but do you find unhappy with your life? Are you unhappy with your results?
No. I am pleased with the fact that I turned my back on all the crap my parents indoctrinated me with.
Okay.
Go forward, because I had to ask myself at the age of 18, this cannot be how things should be.
That's right. That's right. I agree with that wholly. That's great. You see what I'm saying? So there's a level of freedom that you found.
Yes.
We need that. Someone like you. This is what I'm saying about the balance in an organisation. Say like we had, like I was saying earlier, like the Black Parents Union or something like that, where black people could come to and like with someone like you or people of a certain level and say, well, boy, this is how we run it. Or someone say, well, boy, I need advice on how to do this with my child because they won't do this. And you say, well, I can give you this advice. You get me? But we're not doing that. We're not volunteering our time like that to our community because we're kind of all in our isolated boxes.
People become isolating themselves rather than actually trying to solve problems that come up in family.
That's right. And we got the television forever showing us on EastEnders and Brookside, and you imagine the amount of people that watch that. So they're kind of using this infiltration of their front room to kind of gain some kind of knowledge out. When they see the white little child cuss back at their mother and all that, they think, yeah, I should allow that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's going on.
That is the worst road to go down. That is the evil path for parents to sit down and allow children to take in what they see on TV. In fact, what is the word I'm looking for? I find when children come from school, they've been brainwashed by the European influence out there. So I try and de-brainwash my child.
Yeah, we've
and
talked
that
about
is very important, and that is when they do see certain program like EastEnder, I just explain to my eldest daughter is 20, my son is 19, the youngest is 6, and I just let them know that is just a load of crap. That is not reality. Good. Question whatever crap you see they putting on the TV because it is brainwashing. It is totally brainwashing that you see on TV, and I try and explain to my children, encourage them to pick, reality out of the crap that you see on TV.
Yeah. Great. That's what you call balance. And also, what by the sound of what you're suggesting, your children feel free enough to talk about stuff that they'll talk like you're not there, which in fact gives you room to actually recognize where they're leading. Because if they don't feel comfortable talking around you as a parent, they will talk in their room. They will talk only with their friends, and therefore you isolate yourself in terms of their development.
Yeah. And that is because past experience which I went through with my parents, I definitely set out not to let that happen between me and my children. I wanted openness.
Yeah. It's good that you have, full respect to you, that you have made a conscious decision in the same way that I have as a parent as well. That's why I can empathize and completely agree with what you're saying and how hard it's been, because I think it's far easier to take the easy road out and just be what your parents want you to be. The hard road is when you know you have to go against the grain.
It is.
You know, you have to go against the grain. And the thing is, your children, right, and your child, I don't know how many children you have or if you have one child.
3.
You've got 3 children.
Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, it's wonderful that they've got a wonderful mother such as you. I just want to say out to your children out there to give you as much love and support as possible, and especially be grateful to have a parent such as you. For all of your 3 children, if I had their names, I'd call them out and tell them. Honestly, it's very important. And speaking to you empowers me and lots of other parents out there, because you're right. Sometimes it seems like it's a lonely road. And until you start networking, it's not really. But if you start networking and getting out there, you realize there are loads of people just like you.
Yes.
And you might be sitting in an auditorium with 400 people just like you. And then, you know, it's really nice to sit and see. But our children need to see this as well. And I don't think that there are enough, like, organizations, like you said, or promotions that are going to get the right kind of youth together that are going to move forward. Do you see what I mean? Because outside of you, once they go out into the world, they've got other indoctrinations.
Yes.
Yeah, there's homosexuality that's being propagated 100% everywhere.
Yes.
You see the pink paper in libraries and, you know, everywhere. You see adverts everywhere. And it's just like every step there's some kind of missile that's being aimed at your child.
Tell me about it, girl. Another point. I'll explain something to you which happened regarding homosexuality that really shocked me to the point where it made me cry. My son was age 10 at the time, and we were walking down the high street near where we lived, and 2 guys walked in and were holding hands, and they turned and kissed each other. And my son turned to me and said, "Mom, it's 2 guys kissing, and they're holding hands like a woman and man would." And I had to explain to him that they're homosexual.
Yes.
You know, and the point which I come to a conclusion that makes me so angry is that I do not know what homosexual is, apart from what the terminology is given. That's men.
Well, you don't practice it.
Pardon?
I said, you know, it's just like me. We don't practice it, so how are we supposed to know?
When I was growing up, I didn't see this sort of disgusting thing. So how then can I explain to my son what it is? And my son turned and asked me, "Well, how do they make love?" I said, "Son, I don't know."
I mean, that's the thing, though.
So
it wasn't like that when we were growing up, was it?
No.
It wasn't. Now it's everywhere. It's left, right, and centre. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, every orifice of the media or any orifice of life,
24/7.
it's being pushed through.
In your face.
In your face. I mean, you think about all the ministers that have been outed. Everything from politics to just general life to presenters on TV to your local butchers to your local gay group, which is organised down the road with the flyers all over the high road. You know, I mean, what?
In your face, full stop.
But and the thing we have to do with our children, that is the new enemy. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What he says, Sandra, is that I could not explain to my son what they do and what it's about. All I could do is say to my son, for the time being, I do not know much about them. It's a new thing.
You know what you say to me? It's wrong behaviour.
Pardon?
As long as we make sure we impose upon them that it's wrong behaviour.
I said, I had to explain to him that as far as I'm concerned, I give birth to a daughter and a male child. And as long as you live, and as hopefully that, you know, I will live long enough to see my grandchildren, that is your offspring, remain a man-child.
Yes.
Okay? Do not allow yourself to be indoctrinated or to persuade to become like they are. Because that is it's a bandwagon which people jump on. It's a fashion thing with a lot of people.
Yes.
And you are my one and only son. And I hope as long as I draw breath to know that, thank God, I give birth to a boy child, which is a male child. That is all I know. Woman and man. Not man with man and woman with woman. That's not what I'm used to.
Yeah. You know what? I got to say this is that in terms of a lot of parents losing their children, particularly their sons, this way, it's becoming something somewhat of an epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say it's an epidemic is because there are groups bringing up weekly, support groups, propagation groups, you know, all different kinds of organisations are being sprung up to support people who carry on with this kind of indecent behaviour. You know, and the way I see it is that if you teach your son those values, he will pass it on to his child and his child and his child. And as much as we're saying, no, we've moved away from our parents and certain values, it's because it's distinguishing and knowing the difference between what is going to be good for us and our nation, you know, and what's not going to be good.
Yeah, and definitely, as I say to my son, if my dad wasn't there to plant the seed, with my mother, would I be here? Would you be here? So therefore it goes to show it takes a man and a woman, a unit.
Yeah, what they've done now is that they're now having two homosexuals in America having a child for a woman, yeah? So what we're up against as a black nation is that we have to now explain to our children, like he said, how do they have sex and all that. We have to explain to our children that they have sex in wherever they have sex. You know what I mean? If it's anal or whatever, we have to tell them.
Exactly. That is what we're so embarrassing.
I know, but what I'm saying is that I know because we're not used to it ourselves. But what we have to realize is that our history, remember their history, they've showed it on television just over the last few weeks, is reeked with homosexuality. Our history is not. You know what I'm saying?
It was an eye-opener to realize.
You've seen it. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, right.
And I realized that is the way that's why they're the way they are.
Right. So
they're
now
totally screwed up.
Right. Whatever it is where they're captives, right? So whatever it is that they have, we've got to teach our children that our history. I'm not talking coloured people or dark-skinned people who say they're black. I'm talking the black nation, B-L-A-K black nation, not the B-L-C-K black nation. Yeah? Do not want that. As long as you remain black people do not want that. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, it's incumbent upon you, that it's up to you to tell your child, I will never ever be happy with you being that way. If it's in their genes somewhere, if you manage to go have sex with somebody who's got the DNA, the so-called the homosexual gene, as they say there is one, then he has to make the decision in his own lifestyle. But we have to be very clear that there's certain kinds of behavior. I've told my children I will not
tolerate.
No, and I say to them, you can go out, you can do this, you can do that, but I've made my distinctions. I've been in an argument where they've said to me, oh, so what if your child's a homosexual, you're going to disown it? I said, yes, most definitely. Oh yes, most definitely. Because there has to be a line. There has to be a line. There has to be a line. And if that is one of them, in order to keep my black nation, just like the Jews disown some of the people who don't want to be Jewish, then of course it's incumbent upon you to do what you feel is necessary for your genealogy, that is your lineage, and also yourself as a human being and your dignity, and your black nation if you say you're a part of it.
I do agree. You have to set the line. You have to tell them this is the line and you do not cross over. That a lot of young black in this country today is jumping on the bandwagon. It's a fashion with a lot of them, and it's so heartbreaking.
It's not part of our ancestry.
No.
It's not part of our culture.
They've been indoctrinated by the European way of life and their history.
It's not a part of our ancestry. It's not a part of our culture. It's not something that should be implemented, and it's something that needs to be rooted out, just like a bad seed, you know. And the way that I see it is that a lot of these men, particularly gay men, they have a particular dislike, and women. No, I was just about to show you both sides, actually. Particularly gay men have a dislike for black women, and you'll find that lesbian women also have a particular dislike for black men. That's the reason why. Yeah, but it all stems from self. It really does, and that's what I said earlier on. It's just like it stems from self. If your parents don't instill in you, like you are instilling in your children, right, the value of themselves and the respect that you give them and the communication facility that you allow, right, both ways, yeah, it's not going to happen. And this is the problem. A lot of parents are too damn sure of themselves. They know too right. Yeah, they're too right. They're never wrong. They think they're never wrong. Yeah, we all are wrong.
Yes.
You know?
You can make mistakes at times.
All the time. How many times have you done things and you check yourself like, oh, that's not a right thing?
Almost once a day.
Exactly.
I know to keep myself free, but you still make the mistake again. But then that's
it's learning. It's learning. It's about learning lessons and learning from experiences. And not only that, a lot of us don't implant in our child that everything is possible.
Yes.
Everything is
also
possible.
Very important for a child to be strong in themselves. You know, you have to let a child know that it is impossible. Whatever you want to achieve in life, it's possible. Nothing is impossible.
Right. Right.
You may make mistakes along the road, but don't give up.
That's right. That's right.
However, you know, I could go on and talk all day, but I need to go right now.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. I mean, I could hear the conversation rounding down. But what I would like to say to you, you can put down the phone. You can still be able to hear us through the radio. Is to say thank you ever so much. I am gracious and honoured to have your call and to listen to your viewpoint, because whoever's listening will be touched by what you've said. And I dare say a lot of us need to check ourselves anyway. You know, a lot of us do on a constant basis. It's not something that is just a one-off situation. It's something where we have to keep doing it. We have to keep looking at the way in which we address, the way we speak to our children. What do we call our children? What kind of music are they hearing? What kind of outside influences are we allowing to infiltrate their brains? You know, are you growing with them? That's another thing. It's just like one of the ambitions that I have with my daughter. Yeah, she's going. Thank you for that call once again. But one of the ambitions that I have with my daughter is that I'd like to go and do a tour of Africa, the whole of Africa, and take a year out or something to do it, because I feel it's something that she will need. Regardless of whether she sees good things, regardless of whether she sees negative things, positive things, you know, scary things, real things, you know, magic, whatever. I think that's something that she ought to have the opportunity to see. And I feel that a lot of parents actually neglect and create this facade where Europe is all and England is all. It's technologically more advanced, this is more advanced, and we get stuck in this sort of westernized type of grip of things where we've got this value system where, you know, the mini disc is better than having any kind of information about your heritage. It's not. You know, where the new Sega or the new PlayStation or whatever is going to replace that void in your child. A lot of the children growing up nowadays have a void because they've got no real sense of self. When I mean that, because they're in an environment where they are not the majority, and therefore they are surrounded constantly and I mean completely bombarded by European images, European food, European clothing, European speech. Everything is just that way, and it's always the best way. You know, what we have to show them is that there is an alternative best way too. You know. Anyway, the studio number for anybody who would like to call in, you're listening to Genesis 91.6 or 91.5, depending on where you actually are. That's the frequency. The studio number is 07977 884840. But before I go on, I just would like to share some information with all the Genesis listeners. I picked up some information on Friday, and I did actually say that I would try and read a few bits of them out, and as I said I would, I'm just going to get them now. Right, here we are. There's an African spiritual development class which is happening at the Yar and Satawa Art Centre. That's 1 Chippenham Mews off Maryland Road, NW6, and that's on the 6th of November. And I was asked to read that out by this lovely lady that I met on Friday, and I said that I would. She obviously listens into Genesis, which is excellent. I'm sorry, but I can't remember your name. I'm not very good with names sometimes. But it's all about the Tree of Life meditation, principles of spirituality mastery, and the system is used as a guide to ensure that meditation on a given objective is addressed and addresses every part of your spirit. Sounds very interesting. This class will show you how to make enduring changes in your life using the 11 sets of mental and spiritual faculties that are necessary in order to bring about permanent and long-lasting changes in your life. It also goes through Kemetic cosmologies, and metoneuter, the oracles, etc., etc. There is a number there for anybody who's interested. I'll read that out if you want to grab a pen. It's 0181 909 2605, or there's another number here, and that's 0171 372 2689. And there's also a Black Studies class which is going to be happening. This has been promoted in association with the New Initiatives Youth and Community Association. They present a Black Studies class. It's an introduction to Black history, politics, psychology, sociology, sorry, excuse me, and religion. It's a 30-week, 3 terms evening course. It starts on Wednesday the 27th of October 1999 at 7 p.m. And there are course fees, etc., etc., but they're pretty low for the unwaged. So if you are unemployed and you do want to find out more about yourself, then here's the opportunity to do so. It's also based in South London, this one. It's the New Initiative Youth and Community Association, 55 Willington Road, London, SW9 9ND. I'll say that again. New Initiatives Youth and Community Association, 55 Willington Road, London, SW9 9ND. The nearest tube station for that is Clapham North, that's the Northern Line. And there's also a contact number where you can leave messages. I'll say that slowly. It's 07977 014794. I'll say that again. 07977 014794. That's for more details, or to actually reserve yourself a course. A place on the course. And also there was an optimal parenting, a 6-week parenting support program for parents of African heritage. This started earlier on in October, but they are actually running courses at various times, and that's also at 55 Willington Road, Stockwell. So these are all information that I found that's based in South London, which is really the target area of Genesis, really, although we do broadcast across London, but I'd say that the majority of the listeners are actually based in South, the supporters are based in South. And the number for this initiative, which is the Optimal Parenting, a 6-week parenting support program for parents of African heritage. It's not just that, they've got other information on parenting as well. And if you want to link with other parents, like-minded parents, just like the previous caller, the number is 0181 698 7271. That's 0181 698 7271. You can contact them for further details and information. And also, for anyone who was interested in the Malidoma Patrice Sume event, which happened on Friday, he's actually coming back to the UK next year to do a 10-day initiatives course through the Pan-African Society. And that should be very good. I do feel that he's going to be someone who's going to be very, looking for the right word, very important. I would say not even important. The word I'm looking for is he's going to be, I don't know, more than important. It's like a really key word I'm looking for. It will come to me, but it's something that I think that we all need to learn, and I think that everybody should read the book of The Spirit and the Water if you can get hold of it. It's a very important book, because I think it opens up the mind to the various possibilities of different words, dimensions, and not only that, the fact that people in Africa face the same kind of difficulties as we do over here. I mean, if not even more so, because they're indoctrinated, because they're kidnapped and put into missionary schools. And, you know, we can't overlook those facts, because it happens. In the same way that we might have a child that is put into a boarding school because they're extremely intelligent, and then you realise that they're indoctrinated while they're in that facility there, because they don't have the strength of mind and the information and the knowledge of self in order to try and not deny themselves. A lot of the time, a lot of black people, especially in high positions, spend a lot of time denying themselves all the time. When I mean denying themselves of who they are. They want to assimilate. You know, I say, yes, I'm British. I ain't gonna deny it. I'm speaking English. I'm here now. You know, I'm speaking the English language. You know, ultimately, I'm African, and I'm of African heritage. But yes, I am British, and milk it. While you're here, milk it. Take everything, do everything that you can in order to progress yourself and your people using that passport. You know, use the passport to travel, because a lot of people have passports from different parts of the world that cannot travel. And we need to enlighten ourselves and expand our knowledge of other cultures as well, because that's also a way in which you learn. And the children are our future. Definitely. Definitely. I'm going to say the studio number again because I'd like to have some more callers come in, and I'm sure Doctah X wants to add some stuff as well. I'm going to read it out slowly, and I hope the information would have been helpful to some people anyway. Oh, right, and there's also an open evening. Gosh. On the 26th of October, which will be celebrating Black History Month. And I've got to boost the talk show, the 24-hour talk show that we're doing as well. On the 30th of October, I'll be here as well. I'm definitely going to make that effort to come down and do that. And I'd like for everybody to tell your friends to tune in. Yeah, 24-hour talk show on Genesis 91.6. You'll have to excuse the interference. It's just a slight call. Is that this one? Okay, I'm just going to take this call. Hello, you're through to Genesis 91.6. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is... Oh, hang on. My name's Sylvia from Peckham.
Hello, Sylvia. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
What contribution would you like to make this morning, this afternoon, my love?
Well, I'd just like to make a little comment on the lady that rang up quite earlier on in the afternoon.
Miss
morning,
P.
And she was sort of saying about relationships.
Yes.
About sharing the male. Sharing, a woman having to share.
A woman having to share a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. I just want to see what she's saying.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially these days when there's such shortage of men.
Can I ask you a question?
Not saying a woman can't do without a man, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with sharing. The fact that you, the woman, is quite prepared to put up with it and you're happy with it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you had your man, right, that you love very much, right, that you're used to having his undivided attention, right, and the fact that that man goes and finds someone else attractive, wants to spend time with and make love with and possibly have a child with that woman, right, would you not see that as some kind of deceit or conflict of interest?
Well, basically, it depends if I'm treating the man okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what about you?
Don't treat their men okay. They take the men for granted, especially if they've been with them for a long time.
Yeah, but what? It goes both ways, though, doesn't it? It goes both ways.
That's the problem.
It goes both ways.
I think a man is just like a woman. You need someone you can communicate with, someone you can talk with. I've got lots of... And there's a lot of people that, take the men for granted. As long as they get money at the end of the week, it's okay.
But does that not bring it down onto a sexual level? I mean, this is what I'm trying to say, is that a lot of women...
Because you, the other woman...
You're cutting out. Say that again. You're cutting out. Say that again. Say that again. You're cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can. Say that whole sentence again, because I missed it.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. You're the woman, the other woman. You might have a lot of things in common with the gentleman. You can communicate and talk about various things that his wife don't want to talk to him, about, like the wife.
So what's wrong with friendship?
Late. Sorry?
Why not have friendship? I mean, I'm sorry, but friendship is so underrated and devalued. Right? But why do you have to share a physical... I'm talking about a physical relationship. This is what I'm talking about.
Hang on. Physical. You can have a conversation with a guy. You can go out.
Don't tell me what to say.
You can go out for a drink. There's nothing
I'm
wrong
I'm
with
trying
that.
to listen. Let me hear what she has to say. With you talking in my ear, I'm not forcing. I'm asking. Yeah? But I'm here as a host, as a presenter in my own right, and I'm not forcing my opinion on you. I just want to make that clear, because I've just been told that by Doctah X. But I do find that men tend to do that in a sense anyway. They like to force their opinion on you without realising what they're doing at the time. But let's move on to what you're actually saying. So what you're actually saying is that you think it's... What I'm asking you is, do you think it's fine? Do you think it's fine for... yeah, for a man to be deceitful, right? Because 9 times out of 10, when men do this and they're out with other women, do you think they're open and honest with their partners?
No, they're not. But then again, maybe the partner isn't treating them okay. There's plenty of guys
But
out
why
there
would a woman stay with a man?
taking them for granted. And guys, it's just like a woman, a guy needs someone to talk to. You can communicate about certain things, you can share different views, blah, blah, blah. And if they're not getting it, obviously it's like they're looking for someone to talk to. And you, the other woman, might be happy with that.
There's a point I'm waiting for her to get to while I'm waiting. Right. The point I'm making is this man now goes and he has another child. Now, what I'm trying to say is that the offspring of many relationships such as what you're talking about, leave many psychologically damaged children, right? Left behind. Many fatherless children. Because men listen to women like you and feel that they have the license.
Yeah, but there's many fatherless children out there anyway.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't exist. Are you saying that it's right? That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying that, but there's plenty of fatherless children out there.
I am going to let you come in.
Growing up, I didn't have a father.
But that's what I'm saying. You're perpetrating the same cycle.